Fun Time with Chiu. Today, we'll be talking about one of the most famous novels of all times, Moby Dick. And today, we got some distinguished guests, Professor Chen from Harvard.
It's my pleasure.
It's my pleasure too. And Dr. Miao with the PhD degree from Duke University.
My honor.
My honor too. So, most of you, I bet, know about Call Me Ishmael, but not everyone is familiar with it. So, Professor Chen, can you please talk us through the author of Moby Dick, Herman Melville?
Certainly. So Melville was a hardworking and talented writer that was born in 1819 in New York. His early life was, I'd say, difficult because his family was really poor. But he came in contact with ships at 1839, where he became a cabin boy on the ship to England.
So Professor Chen, can you please elaborate on Melville's expedition?
Alright, sure. I would love to. Melville, he boarded the whaler Akershnet, which was bound for a Pacific exploration, and his voyage was originally planned to be for 3 years, but Melville jumped ship at the Marquesas Islands when it was 18 months.
Wait, sorry to interrupt, but did you say that Melville jumped ship? If so, why?
Well, Dr. Miao, I don't have a definite answer for you, but I could say that Melville jumped ship simply because his ship life was too boring. And so, anyways, to continue on, he lived among the Tebi natives, which was a cannibal group. Despite their vulgar tradition, they treated Melville quite well. And Melville even based his first book, which is Taiki, off his love affair between him and a Tebi native called Fayaway. The famous novel, Moby Dick, was also derived from this whaling experience.
Thank you, Professor Chen. I'm actually interested in the book Moby Dick. So, Dr. Miao, can you please briefly describe it?
Sure, dude. So, the book Moby Dick, the plot is about Captain Ahab on the ship Pequod hunting for the white whale, whose name is Moby Dick, like the book title indicates. So, the story is written in Ishmael's perspective, as mentioned. The most famous quote of the book Moby Dick, Call Me Ishmael. And in the first place, when Moby Dick was first published, only 5 copies were sold in the first year because half of the book talks about whale hunting and oil extracting, which makes the book sort of boring to most of the audiences. And most of the audience cannot relate to whale hunting. And due to the fact that the book cannot attract mass attention, the book did not start gaining popularity until the 20th century.
Thank you, Dr. Miao. I read Moby Dick before, and the Melville seems to lean to the darker side of humanity. Why is that?
Well, the reason why Moby Dick has a dark context is mainly because of Melville's belief of anti-transcendentalism. So anti-transcendentalism is a literary movement which focuses on the darker side of humanity and sins. Contrary to transcendentalism, which focuses on the belief that nature is inherently good, anti-transcendentalists believe that men were born with sin and view nature as evil. An example of an anti-transcendentalist would be Nathaniel Hawthorne, who wrote the famous Scarlet Letter.
Thank you, both guests, for talking about Moby Dick and Herman Melville. Each of you prepared your favorite quotes in Moby Dick. So, who would like to go first?
Well, I'd be happy to. So I chose this quote from a chapter Ahab. Basically, this quote is alluding to the Greek mythology of Zeus and Prometheus, where Zeus punishes Prometheus for granting fire to mankind. This enraged Zeus, and he doomed Prometheus to being chained on a mountain and having his liver torn away repeatedly for eternity. Melville's specific diction, the words "raw-like" and "tyrannly," and also in the second half of the quote, his imagery to lightning, alludes to Zeus's cruel punishment towards Prometheus. And so in this sense, Ahab resembles Prometheus, as he was injured by Moby Dick, while Moby Dick would be Zeus. And the tone Melville uses in this passage leans to a heroic side. And he portrays Ahab as a good, thus placing Moby Dick, or nature, as bad. This contradicts to Emerson's view, transcendentalist views. So overall, this passage is significant because it offers a justification for Ahab's action of chasing Will. Essentially, this passage connects to a whole story.
Thank you, Professor Chen. You briefly described about the context and Greek mythology. You connect both the great ideas. How about Dr. Miao? What's your viewpoint?
So I think I totally agree with Dr. Chen's point on the fact that Melville was trying to depict Ahab as Prometheus, but I do not completely agree with the fact that Melville was trying to depict Ahab as a heroic figure. The hunt of Moby Dick was only for his will of revenge, taking revenge on Moby Dick instead of the benefit for mankind or his crew members. So what do you say about this?
Well, thank you for bringing this up. So, what I meant was that Melville uses specific diction to portray Ahab as heroic. This doesn't necessarily mean that Ahab is heroic, because his actions were indeed done out of hatred.
Thank you. So, Dr. Miao, can you start with your quote?
Sure, it's my turn. My quote, as shown, depicts the most important event in the whole story of Moby Dick. This is when Ahab forms an unbreakable vow between him and his crew members. Melville used the simile hot as Satan's hoof to describe the flagon that Ahab offered to his crew members. It indicates the rage that Ahab was trying to force onto his crew. The effect of this ceremony of drinking was to form, as mentioned, an unbreakable vow between him and his crew members so they can strive for the same goal of hunting down Moby Dick despite the consequences. Even Starbuck, being the most rational among the crew members, succumbed to this ceremony. One of the current events that we can relate to this quote is ISIS, or to be more specific, the leader of ISIS, which is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. His goal is to create an Islamic state. However, to achieve this goal, he sacrificed many of his followers. This resembles how Captain Ahab, in order to achieve his goal, sacrifices many of his crew members. This is only for his personal gain, for his will to take revenge on Moby Dick. His careless actions eventually led to his crew members' deaths.
Thank you, Dr. Miao, for your analysis on the excerpt in Moby Dick and connecting to the current event of ISIS. And here I received an excerpt from Professor Chen. As the quote shown above, Melville utilizes special dictions such as masked, unreasoning, and not beyond, thus indicating the emptiness behind all the reasonings. When Ahab says, "There's some unknown but still reasoning thing," puts forth the moldings of its features from behind the unreasoning mask. He is depicting about how although every mask has a seemingly unreasonable explanation, in truth, the only thing behind the mask is an unreasonable truth. Even if we succeeded in striking through the mask, we would not find the answers we were looking for. Captain Ahab searches for Moby Dick in hopes to find an explanation for his missing leg. This search for the unattainable is nothing more than an illustration of the human desire to make reason out of everything.
Exactly. What you said is absolutely correct. Anyways, I thought of a perfect example of this. Recently, there has been records that reveal in the United States 10 of the Catholic archbishops defied Pope's example and lived in residence worth more than $1 million. The followers in this case will be searching for the true meaning behind Catholicism. However, when they see the archbishops, or those who are seen as the most connected with God, the followers realize that the archbishops are not following God's rule. When they strike through the mask, all they could see was the unreasonable truth behind religion. What was the purpose of religion when those most connected with God cannot even follow His rules?
Fantastic, fantastic. From today's show, we learned about Moby Dick and the author Herman Melville. Thank you, Professor Chen. And good night, and let's prepare for the next show on